We've got ourselves a 7-game NBA slate, and hopefully it'll be a little bit less chaotic than yesterday's. We'll see what we get here. Of course, we're going to do what we always do. We compare my projections to some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic, like Unabated. We'll also look at some ownership projections, go game by game along the way. We'll hop to the betting world, see what Unabated thinks, some of the best bets you can get today, the highest expected value ones as always. Of course, we'll sim some DFS lineups. And by the end of this video, you'll know the must-plays for today's NBA slate, February 4th. Let's get into it. I am back in solo dad mode once again. Alex on the way to Germany, so it's going to be a fun home stretch here. That also means tomorrow, guys, FYI, video at 3 p.m. because I have to do the deeper dive tomorrow, so I have to get Luca in the 4 o'clock hour, bring him back here, set him up with Cars, the movie, and probably actual literal Cars. Weird slate. Looking forward to the breakdown. Yesterday's ridiculous. Yeah, I appreciate that. Tyler Smith did his thing, though, so that's really all I could have asked for. Wasn't a great slate besides that. Ryan Rollins got jerked around the second quarter, didn't get back in for the Bucks. But the Bucks value, look, whenever you get 3K guys opening up, I'm going to have a good time. So I didn't mind the slate too much. Today, though, our chalk play for me at the very least, highest projected play on the slate for me as well, is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. Today, have him at a 53.4 projection, $9,400 salary. That's why he's the guy in the thumbnail today. Towns matchup-wise for the Knicks. Talking about going against Toronto here, implied total of 117, rounding up their implied points, not the worst. But because you have Anunoby out, getting more Towns, getting more Brunson seems like a logical thing. I'm getting more of both guys, but Towns at center, my highest projected guy overall, getting him in 59% of my top 150 lineups. Compared to the field's 22% expected ownership today. Actually, you know what's really great about yesterday too, which I just want to quickly, Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges was awesome yesterday. Again, awful dude, hate him. But I have to say, that man puts up fantasy points, and I think he's going to put up fantasy points. So shout out Miles Bridges. Not the kind of dude you want to write home about. I don't want to be his friend necessarily if he's going to hit women. But you know, if he's going to hit shots, we can go like this for one day. LeBron James. It's the worst thing to tout guys that suck, and then you have to go like, well, he's really good at basketball though. LeBron James, 9% ownership for me in my top 150 fields is 7%. You have no Luka Doncic today. The price tag, though, at 10.8, a little bit less than desirable, facing a Clippers team that's going to play down pace, plays a good defense as well. So LeBron, certainly your pay-up option on the slate, but I personally have a harder time going there, even though I have about 2 fantasy points higher than Stokastic does. You got Jason Tatum here, 19% ownership compared to the 13% that I have for him. Decent price tag at 9,800. I personally would favor Karl-Anthony Towns. Thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. It's absolutely 100% not even remotely true, but thank you for noticing that I have a man bun and he also has long hair. Really unique one. Appreciate it. We got Tyrese Maxey here. He made some fine movies. If I could make as much money as Steven Seagal for the amount of work he put in calorically and on film, I think I'd be doing pretty well for myself. Tyrese Maxey. So Paul George right now out. Joel Embiid questionable. Andre Drummond questionable. As a result, we currently have Maxey reflecting here that he's going to be playing today. So Maxey would look a lot better if you get Embiid out at 9,900 with him in. 4.4% for the field. I got him in 4%. So Maxey, not really a priority play for me by any stretch. Jalen Brunson, 49% exposure for me in my top 150 fields at 12%. Knicks look good to me. High total here. No OG Anunoby. The rates for these guys do up a little bit as well without Anunoby out there. Basically, the top shooters get kind of consolidated usage overall, where Bridges averaging 0.83 fantasy points a minute without Anunoby out there, so really not any change for him in terms of upward production. Josh Hart, 1.1 fantasy points per minute. Would say that he looks like a slightly better play, but not a crazy one. Now, here's where it gets a little bit nuts. Currently, Towns averages 1.6 fantasy points per minute without Anunoby out there. I don't know why there would be that big of a push-pull for him. Not having Anunoby for a guy like Towns who's going to get his shots up no matter what. But it is a pretty big rate increase overall. And then Jalen Brunson averaging 1.4 fantasy points a minute, along with 36% usage and then 31% assist rate with Anunoby off. Whatever reason, I guess basically because that fifth guy becomes like an absolute nothing. We don't even have to try to get him shots guy when you have Precious Achiuwa or Miles McBride out there, or whatever else they want to try it out. Landry Shamet. These guys all don't matter that much. So my gut would tell me that with the rates kind of changing that much, and it is a good enough sample size here for Towns. We're talking about almost 800 possessions of court time without Anunoby this year. Brunson, we're talking about almost 550 possessions of court time without Anunoby. I think in the spot here, those guys actually are much better players because of not having Anunoby out there. So Towns and Brunson, really big stands for me here. Obviously, this could move around if we get different value opening up, some better situations like I think Maxey, if you get no Embiid, I'd probably get a good amount more there. But as it is right now, pretty big stands for me on Brunson and on Karl-Anthony Towns. James Harden here, less than the field for me. You have Kawhi in playing minutes. You have enough for roster. Not bad, 9,200 with a 45-ish fantasy point projection, but Harden, not really a core play for me today. Tyler Hero, getting a little bit more of here. Match versus Hero today. We're going against Chicago. So you're getting that pace up, soft defense, and frankly, a Chicago team that's probably going the opposite way of competitive at this point of the year. Hero looking okay to me, not getting as much of the field as Bam Adebayo. We'll see it more in the game by game here, but Hero, good amount of the field going to be there, and I'm going to be at least with it. Bam Adebayo, 42% ownership expected to go his way. I have 21%. I am not as big of a Bam guy here. Gave him the rate increase we'd expect without Jimmy Butler per usual. Have him averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute today, so I don't think Bam's a bad play. I'm still getting him over 20%, but feels like a lot of the field on Bam when you do have Kel'el Ware out there who kind of pulls some of those peripheral stats from a guy like Bam. I don't mind Bam here, but I would think when you see that much Bam ownership, thinking more Hero, thinking more Kel'el Ware, I think would make sense. And Josh Hart, we talked about the rate increase, the opportunity increase, Noah Anunoby out there. He's coming up for me about 23% of lines compared to the field 17. And Gafford down here, quarter of the field playing him. I'm playing him a little bit more. Let's sort by value. Let's see what we get here. Come on now. Josh, I'm giving you a timeout for being that needy again. Dude, people have to get to, don't take the chat timeouts personally, but if I just find what you're saying annoying, I'm just going to time you out. That's what it is. It's my own sanity as much as anything. I appreciate all you being here. A lot of great chats coming in for the most part. But just don't be fucking annoying. That's the main thing. Grady Dick, my top value right now. We are a Dick-based show here, of course. If you couldn't tell by me talking about how I handle chats, where I'm just going to mute people at my will, my discretion. It's like Elon on Twitter. I just get to do things the same way. We got Grady Dick here, though, as a value play. Basically, whenever one of Quickly, Barrett, Barnes is out, I think Grady Dick comes up a little bit more. At a 4K salary for Grady Dick, I think he looks pretty good overall. That said, pretty good ownership for him with 27% of the field being there. I'm going to be at 55% today as of right now. Certainly more value opening up would make me want to get less Dick because really it's not a stand that's gone that well for me overall in the last few weeks. But he does get enough of a rate increase. And in fact, today, without Barrett out there, would expect Grady Dick to be at 26% usage, 11% assist rate, 0.94 fantasy points per minute. And frankly, due to shoot a little bit better at 53% true shooting in that core time without having Barrett out there. So Dick, again, when you get one of the Raptors out, Grady Dick becomes the one that pops up. I know everybody loves the Dick puns. I also can't resist them, I guess. I can't resist these Dick puns. But Grady Dick, I think a good value here, and really that's the case whenever any of the Toronto core three is out. We got Jared Vanderbilt. So Vanderbilt, I honestly could knock the rates down a little bit here. I am just using his 2024 rates. He's been playing pretty well in the year, averaging 1 fantasy point per minute so far for a Lakers team that clearly could use some sort of big man help at this point. Really only Jackson Hayes and Christian Koloko out there as the other big men of note, and they're really not big men of note. Vanderbilt's average of 21%, actually 22% for rounding up. Rebound rate on the year, 1.1 fantasy points per minute, but assisting a little bit more than you would think as well. Touching the ball a good amount. So for Vanderbilt, I think a good value here at 3,200. And your hope would be too, maybe there's an upper band of minutes that he can get to today that we're not aware of, but at 18 minutes at 3,200, a pretty good value, even though that's not starter minutes. You don't feel the most comfortable overall. Cam Whitmore, no Tari Eason today, no Fred VanVleet again as well. So Whitmore soaking up some opportunity there. Steven Adams could get sat on a back-to-back for that team. You're getting Şengün back in. But Whitmore at 3,600, high usage guy, gains a little bit from some of the guys being out, along with Jabari Smith, of course, still out for the Rockets. So Cam Whitmore, 3,600, pretty good value, but not getting starter-level minutes. Grady Dick, at the very least, is getting starter-level minutes. Zaire Williams directed to play 31 minutes today, which feels like a lot. Does get a pretty big rate uptick as well in court time without the two Cams for the Nets. Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, both out. Cam Johnson, I presume, very live to get traded within the next 2 days. Ben Simmons, supposedly a buyout candidate now because he might want to go to a competitive team. We'll see how that works out for him. I guess theoretically somebody could trade for him, but that seems unlikely. For Brooklyn, though, in court time without those guys this year, Zaire Williams has played just shy of 500 possessions, has averaged 0.92 fantasy points per minute. So once again, a guy at 4,600, not a bad value, but in that range where he's just okay rotational piece. I'll get some here. 41% of my top 150 compared to the field's 28% expected ownership. Ochai Agbaji, another guy really getting Dick, getting Agbaji here, getting all the stars of the Raptors. But again, you should open up some opportunity with Barrett being out there, more minutes on the wing. Barrett's been about a 30% usage guy, 25 to 30% assist rate guy. He dominates the ball enough out there. You're going to get more of the other players, especially because quickly, too, it's going to be hard for him to top like 20 minutes based on the minutes he's been playing since his return from the injury. Last time out, I believe he played 17 and change. Game before that, played 15 and change. Quickly, you're hoping he can get to 20. But really, there's a lot of opportunity to go around from the other Raptors. In particular, Scotty Barnes, I'm not getting very much of. And other values here, Jason Tate got the start yesterday. Probably not as good of a play today. Towns, not really a value. Ayton, semi-value at 6,500, about a third of the field there. That's where we're getting right now. But let's go game by game. It'll reveal more. And guys, if you're watching this video, please do show some love. Feel like the growth pattern's stalling out a little bit. And maybe it's me. Maybe it's just that time of year for us. But we're going to keep going here, of course, all year long. All-Star break coming up for a little bit. Then we'll be hitting it hot and heavy in the garbage time of the year where teams are actively pulling players. So please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. I will be here Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Every day there's an NBA slate showing you the projections, showing you my data, comparing it to Stokastic, compared to Unabated as well. And of course, going to be checking out the betting markets on Unabated coming up, and check them out because I could not do the show if it were not for our friends on Unabated paying me to do a show every day. So please, unabated.com/NBA, promo code SPLASH. Gets you $30 off a monthly package on there, so check it out. Or get a different one and still use the same thing. Can we get a Dick Payne jersey? I feel like the Dick jersey swaps have now gone away this year, unfortunately. We love the growth patterns. Yes, we do love growth patterns here. All right, Dallas, 112 implied points. No Anthony Davis today. I kept Quentin Grimes on the sheet because theoretically, so Dallas and Philadelphia made a trade today. Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin, and I think there's one other player involved in that. That doesn't matter. But basically, these guys are playing in the same city, so theoretically, you could see Grimes available for Philadelphia and Caleb Martin available for Dallas today. It doesn't usually happen, but you also usually don't have players in the city already for the opposing team. So I'd watch out for that here because that would also throw you for a loop a little bit in terms of what the ownership is. It's a like button to see your dick grow an inch. All right, I can't guarantee that, but give it a shot. But don't click it multiple times, only the one time. It only works once. Basically, if you get Grimes in for Philadelphia, if you get Martin in for Dallas, it's going to make everybody look a little bit worse here. So just keep that in mind. As it is right now, Gafford's minutes seem secure. You have no Derek Lively still for this team. So Gafford, no Kleber either. No Powell. Your big man threat is Kyler Kelly at this point, who's really just more of a garbage time, nobody available guy. So Gafford's minutes should be pretty secure overall. I'm at 28% ownership in my top 150, and the field's at 26%. So a good quarter of the field play. I could see going above on him too, because Philadelphia, especially if you don't get Embiid out there, he's going to abuse Yabusele or Drummond, whoever. If you get Embiid out there, Gafford's still going to hustle a lot more than Embiid, probably pick off some rebounds. I would think get some blocks too. So Gafford, a good play no matter what, but I think would look like roses if you don't get Embiid in at all. Because foul trouble for Gafford, I think it'd be a risk with Embiid and how he draws shit. Kyrie Irving, not a priority play for me here. Does look pretty good overall in court time without PJ Washington, who's also out for Dallas. I don't think I mentioned that. But really not enough of a rate increase at 8,600 with having Gafford in there and also getting Max Christie playing some minutes too. Not that he's a high usage guy, but it's just another body in there that they might not have had otherwise. So for Kyrie, okay play. 10% of the field is there. I got him at 6%. Najee Marshall, 17% for me, 10% for the field. Just some more minutes to go around because of not having PJ Washington in. Najee's not been a great player on the year, averaging 0.83 fantasy points a minute, but good enough if he's going to play high 20s minutes. So Najee Marshall, I think looking like an okay semi-value rotational piece. Philadelphia, really need Embiid to be out here to want to play these guys. Maxey is not priced for life back with Joel Embiid. He's going to play a lot of minutes no matter what, so you could take a shot if you wanted to, even if Embiid were in. But Embiid coming off the injury, I don't know if you want to play him at all. I didn't give him a big rate boost. I gave him the rates that he has without Paul George this year. I just don't see playing him, honestly. Fields at 1%. I can't imagine him playing even 30 minutes here, so would probably avoid Embiid. His main impact of Embiid is really just that he hurts everybody else here on the team. And again, watch out for Grimes moving over here, playing today. I don't think it would happen, but it is a possibility. Boston, 118.8 implied points going against Cleveland with 119.8 implied points. So 1 point spread here going against Boston on the road. Competitive spot, so I have no issue with ownership going to Tatum. 19% expected ownership for Tatum. So I have 13%, not really an anti-stand for me. Just obviously I do like Towns a lot more than the field, so my ownership is going there instead at that price point. But Tatum against the Cleveland team, it's going to defend him toughly for sure, but they're going to need every point they can get really from these guys today. So Tatum, I think a good play overall. Really, Eastern Conference Finals preview is what it feels like. Not necessarily the way it's going to work out, but it is what it feels like in this game with Boston and Cleveland today. Jaylen Brown, a little bit above the field for me, 11% for the field, 12% my top 150. Porzingis, 15% for me, 17% for the field. No big stands here, but I do think these guys are worth ownership. Derek White, hard time for me to get there. Drew Holiday, hard time for me to get there with Tatum and Brown being available, and Porzingis as well. Just a lot of usage going to those guys. It doesn't flow White and Pritchard and Holiday's way as much, but those guys are all fine. The Indiana report came out. There we go. So Turner's still questionable. Yeah, Turner seems like they're holding out for, illness yesterday / he's being bandied about in trade rumors. We'll talk about Indiana when we get there. Right now, though, the projections, I assume, have both guys in because there was not an injury report for Indiana that was released before. Cleveland, 119.8 implied points on their side. I have Mitchell projected okay, Mobley projected okay, but Mitchell a little bit overpriced to me, Mobley an appropriate price, so I'm getting 2x the field on Mobley, a little bit less than half the field on Mitchell. Darius Garland getting more than 2x the field, 20% there. As I've said enough times this year, he and Donovan Mitchell basically grade out similarly enough. Garland's been shooting better on the year, assisting more, usage is pretty close, so I would favor Garland at his price tag with the 1K discount, but certainly paying out to be contrarian Donovan Mitchell, I'm not going to be mad at you for it. But the best defense is going to go Mitchell's way, and those are the spots where I worry about Mitchell there. He really does seem to shut down a little bit when he's getting trapped and getting the best defenders thrown at him, and he kind of lets the other guys do more. I'd expect that to be the case today, but obviously anything can happen in a competitive game. Jared Allen, not a big anti-stand here. Field's only at 4%. Really not a lot to love on Cleveland, but Garland to me is a pretty big pro stand here, and I didn't do anything to juke the rates today because everybody's in and healthy for Cleveland now. Houston, 111 implied points, getting Alperen Sengun back today. He's probable. Because of that, these guys don't look too well priced with Van Vliet also out here. Van Vliet doesn't really affect the rates enough. Makes Amin Thompson look a little bit better, but not enough to want to get to today. Amin Thompson, we have seen be ramped down quite a bit on back-to-backs. He's on a back-to-back today. Maybe missing Tari Eason opens up a little bit more there, but I don't think you want to take the shot a crazy amount on Amin Thompson today. Fields at 6%. That feels like a logical amount. I'm only at 2 right now. Jalen Green, I'm with the field at 5%. Dylan Brooks a little bit lower than the field at 5%. Cam Whitmore, half my lineups have Cam Whitmore right now. Just isn't great value on the slate. And Whitmore, shooting guard, small forward, 3,600, producing at 1 fantasy point per minute. For sure, more opportunity because of not having Tari Eason out there as well. So Cam Whitmore, I think a good high usage guy off the bench that can get there. Whitmore, the only priority. That's what it looks like for the ownership. Yeah. Tate, I mean, at 3,100, I wouldn't say a priority, but 9% of the field will be there. I get him at 9% as well. He's producing at an okay rate. The minutes never really get high enough. The production doesn't really get high enough. But Tate at 3,100 and a slate without value, I think is also okay. But yeah, Cam Whitmore, really your main thing you want here. Not a high-paced spot either. Not a high total for Houston. Though honestly, Sengun as being the fresh guy in a back-to-back, like for tournament play, he's not a priority, but like those guys are low enough owned where if you have a vibe for Sengun, I would worry about Amin Thompson a little bit, just the minutes on the back-to-back for him. But if you want to take a shot on those guys, you absolutely can, because like it's not like Brooklyn's going to stop them. They're just going to play slow. And that's basically it. For Brooklyn on their side, gave D'Angelo Russell the big rate boost that I normally give him. In core time without Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, and Cam Johnson, all of whom are out today. That said, for him now, it's only about 1.4 fantasy points a minute, 29% usage, 46% assist rate for D'Angelo Russell. Without those guys, he's a good enough play, but not really a priority. I'm getting him at 20% compared to the field's 8. I know I'll take some tournament shots. The main thing for me with D'Angelo Russell is that they do pull him sometimes in competitive games and let Reese Beekman go or whatever. That does spook me a little bit. Houston's a tough matchup as well, but I think Russell is a tournament option here, keeping up with a tired team on a back-to-back. I think works for me at 20% ownership for me. Not a lot of Nick Claxton. He's another guy, much like Turner and some trade rumors in particular with the Lakers. Jalen Wilson, not the spot for him at 5,200 for me. Keon Johnson looking okay, 13% for the field. I'm getting 12 in my top 150. Zaire Williams is my big stand here. Does get a pretty big rate increase overall because of not having guys like Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas out there. But I don't know that I should like him as much as I do, getting him in 41% of lineups compared to the field's 28. I think you get more Keon Johnson. Frankly, how close the price tags are, get more of the really lowly projected Jalen Wilson. Zaire doesn't feel like a trap, but it's like a lot of ownership going to Zaire, which I'm leading into and not by choice. So just what I got in the sim. New York, we talked about them already here. So no OG Anunoby. Karl Anthony Towns becomes pretty close to that Jokic level in terms of his fantasy points per minute, averaging just shy of 1.6. Brunson gets closer to a 1.4. These guys, for whatever reason, just consolidate the usage that Anunoby leaves behind for themselves. And then guys like McBride and Achua just do the same thing they always do. So Towns, to me, getting him at 60% of lineups, so almost 3x the field. Brunson, 48%, 4x the field for me there. A pretty big stance as of right now that certainly would move around if we get better players opening up. But pretty good total for New York here. And Towns and Brunson, the rates just go up enough here that I think they're worth really going on your way to get today. Josh Hart, another guy getting an increase to about 1.1 fantasy points a minute without Anunoby. Bridges, mostly flat here, does go up to about 0.83, but I gave him the rate increase. It didn't affect him too much here. So I'm really low on Bridges. If you want to point out, and Achua as well, Stokastic higher on them. So if you want to fade me here, play more of these guys, I guess, because I'm clearly giving directly, like Towns is getting projection from these guys. Brunson's getting projection from these guys. Josh Hart's pretty much flat, so that one's probably safe no matter what. But I think that's basically the stand for me is I'm very pro Towns and Brunson and a little bit more anti Bridges, Achua, and Miles McBride. McBride, though, okay value at 3,700. He just doesn't do a whole lot out there. Didn't yesterday. He can get hot, I suppose, on a back-to-back, especially maybe, but not a play I love. Toronto, 111.3 implied points here. You have no RJ Barrett, as we talked about, so a lot more Grady Dick for me. Miles of Dick going into my lineups today, 55% exposure, my top 150, compared to the field's 27%. I can live with it, but I am 3 fantasy points higher than Stokastic on Grady Dick's projection. Manuel quickly, Stokastic has a 22 minutes. You probably shouldn't play him today, but he does sort of impact the rest of the lineup a little bit. If he's out, if he only plays 20 minutes, does open up a little bit more potential production for Barnes, for Bruce Brown, for Grady Dick. Like basically Quickly's minutes right now are just not very high. He hasn't crested past 18 minutes yet in the last few games. Barnes here gave him the rate increase that he normally gets without RJ Barrett. Just wasn't enough for me to get there. Barnes overall without RJ Barrett has averaged 1.3 fantasy points a minute. So I'm a little bit low on him here, but the Knicks are a tough matchup. So I guess I could see the how and why of it. It is a down pace as well. But Barnes at 9K, under 10% owned. He feels like a good tournament play. Low on Pirtle, who's getting 15% ownership. I have 9. High on Agbaji, 24% for me, 18% for the field. Don't love Agbaji, but he is cheap and we need value. So that's how that looks right now. There you go. I just literally said it. Great minds think alike. Hammering Brown Dick tonight. Barrett out. Thank you for that. Yeah, Bruce Brown does not get quite as much of a rate increase with Barrett out as he has with Quickly out, for whatever that's worth. But Bruce Brown, I would still have averaging in about 400 possessions, 0.97 fantasy points per minute. So he's kind of much like Grady Dick, just gets a little bit more opportunity because of those guys being out. Miami, we've got 116 implied points on a nice pace-up spot versus Chicago, technically gaining about 6.5 possessions in this game. Chicago, 112.5 implied points on their side. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay. Just want to line it up right and never lines up cleanly. It drives me fucking nuts. There we go. Tyler Hero, 26% for the field. I guess 27%. I'm getting 24. Think he's a good play here, not a great play at 8,400. Certainly has upside, though. I would expect to hit the higher band of that projection, versus a team like Chicago. Pace up, not a good defense. So Tyler Hero, I think, is worth whatever exposure you get. A little bit less sold on Bam Adebayo, as I mentioned earlier, just having Kel'el Ware out there. I don't think it's great for Bam, but Bam gets a rate increase. No Butler in the lineup. $7,900 salary, pretty affordable as well for a spot against Chicago. So Bam Adebayo, 42% for the field, feels like a lot. Still getting him above 20% in my top 150 lineups, though. Kel'el Ware, flat with the field, basically a little bit above. I have him a little bit lower projected than Stokastic, but 1.05 fantasy points per minute on the year, and really think his main lever is that he's going to be 16% owned, and Bam Adebayo is 42%. If Kel'el Ware rips a bunch of boards and makes Bam Adebayo kind of useless in peripheral stats, that's where you kind of can jump the field a little bit there with a cheaper Kel'el Ware. Nikola Jovic projected to play 28 minutes and change, 21% for the field, 25% for me. Very low on Terry Rozier. He's been awful this year. The field's going to play him at 32% today. I have him projected for 3 fantasy points lower, so I'm really taking a big stand against Rozier, and I can live with that. But it is probably a ceiling spot for Rozier and really every Heat player because you're playing Chicago, and Chicago is now a team going the wrong way who also plays fast, who also played terrible defense when they had everybody. Now that Levine's like an aces defender, but it all gets a little bit worse would be my guess. Chicago, 112.5 implied points here. Not a lot that I would love. Close to the field on Kobe White. Kobe White's the big beneficiary. So one weird thing from the Chicago rate data in court time without Zach LaVine, which I noticed last time out, and then I don't think I mentioned on stream. But I've actually not taken Chicago's rates or changed them because of court time without Zach LaVine, because it gets a little bit weird. So Nikola Vucevic has played the Devils number, 666 possessions without LaVine this year. His usage actually goes down without LaVine. Still averages 1.25 fantasy points a minute, so probably a little bit more generous than I'm giving him here relative to the match with Miami, which is technically a pace down for Chicago. But he does lose usage because of LaVine not being in, which I think is because the ball is probably going into more of a ball stop mode with Kobe White, and I guess to a lesser extent Josh Giddey. So the ball just doesn't get to Vooch as much. So it doesn't normally make sense that a player's usage goes down when another star player is out. Like it does normally come out in the wash. I would warn, I guess, the sample size could start to increase Vooch's way. But it's enough here that, like, you know, we're talking about like a 3% usage increase for Kobe White that I think is directly coming from Vooch not getting the same usage he normally gets. And Giddey as well, similar amount. So I would say for these guys here, I think Vooch is just not as good of a play. Kobe White, a better play than usual. Giddey, not as good of a play as the field has him at, but these guys basically gain more than Vooch does. So, like, don't go out of your way to get Vooch because the rates don't support like Vooch becoming a much better player without LaVine. If anything, he actually might be a worse player because the offense doesn't flow as well for a guy like him. Nothing else here to highlight too much. Lonzo Ball, a little bit more than the field at 5K. Decent salary. He's been just shy of 1 fantasy point per minute here the entire season. And obviously we'll get a little bit of an increase because of having no LaVine as well. But that's basically it for me here. I'm fading the seam a little bit, I guess. Giddey, about 1/3 of the exposure. No Vooch. But, you know, you want to take your shots there, you can. Miami side looks pretty good, so getting Bulls run backs would not be an unreasonable thing to do. Indiana, 119.5 implied points. Portland, 114.5. Yes, slow news day. Oh, no. How awful it is to not have things updating throughout the entire video. So I'm trying to walk through all the games. Indiana, 119.5 implied points. If you get Miles Turner out, I think we have one more Q tag for Indiana, right? Who's the other one? I'm sure somebody's going to remind me in chat before I pull it up. But I'm looking here because I did not have that before the show. Oh, it's actually not on the injury report, right? Neesmith, that's right. You're the one that dropped in chat before. So, yeah, Aaron Neesmith, Q tag as well. Would open up some minutes on the wing there. I don't think materially changes the situation as much as Miles Turner would. Miles Turner being out, I swapped to so much Thomas Bryant last night. That shit did not work out very well at all. He actually killed a lot of lineups I had that were pretty good. It was very frustrating. That said, he does probably get you to mid-20s minutes. He also probably won't shoot like 1 for 15 or whatever the fuck he did last night. He was 1 for 10 at one point when I pulled up the app. I was like, are you kidding me, Thomas Bryant? Versus Portland, soft matchup here. A little bit of a pace down, but not enough one to worry about. I think Thomas Bryant would be a much better play overall with Miles Turner out. Came alive at the end, not enough to fucking get my lineups looking much better. There was a point where I was like, I had a few where I'm like, if Miles Turner does something here and Jokic gives me like a good day, I could be in the hunt. And then Miles Turner was just doing nothing for the first 3 quarters. So I think cashed okay, so maybe that probably helped. But fuck him though. We got Indiana for me, not a lot to love here. When you have Mathurin in, when you have Turner, you have everybody in, it just doesn't look that good. But if Turner comes out, you'll get more Bryant. I would get more Halliburton and Siakam as well. There's basically more stats for everybody with Thomas Bryant taking some usage away, but not nearly as much as Miles Turner does overall. Megamind Toppin ruined a couple of my lineups. Yeah, it's tough. Toppin just doesn't gain enough overall, unfortunately. He needs like Siakam to be out. He's basically Siakam's direct backup for the most part. Portland, 114.5 implied points. Robert Williams will be able to play today. Also, some trade rumors for him floating around. Don't know that it matters that much, though, because we do have Klingon and Ayton also available here. But Portland, Ayton's really the big stand here. I am not crazy about DeAndre Ayton. He's also a guy that if anybody wanted to trade for him, offer Portland anything, he could go. So that's something that spooks me a little bit with having a third of my lineups with him. Fields playing Ayton around 27%. I got him at 34. So a pro stand on Ayton, not really a one that I'm going to die on the hill of. Getting Denny Avdia in 7% of my top 150 compared to the Fields 11%. Basically it for Portland. Anthony Simons coming up 9% here. The team's healthy. You've got Jeremy Grant. You've got Avdia. You've got Scoot. You've got Shaden Sharp. I'm just listing names, but like all the Portland guys who sometimes miss, they're not going to miss today. So I don't know really what you're getting from playing Portland. But, if you want to play him for a tournament, sure. Ayton looked amazing last night, 42 minutes. That would also worry me quite a bit too. I didn't realize he played 42 minutes yesterday because I did not get time to look at all the minute data from yesterday. Revenge game versus Phoenix, I guess. Even though it is in Portland. Yeah, 42 minutes including overtime. That's right. Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot of run for a guy who on a back-to-back could absolutely sit. Have we gotten Portland's injury stuff yet? Because they're on a back-to-back. They don't have to report yet. And I know they hadn't earlier. So I'm just checking stuff in a different tab, guys. Because like Ayton getting ruled out would also matter a lot for the slate. Seeing if they have the 4 p.m. injury report out. Here, so I'll show you the tab so you can see this is what you do on the back end. So they put out their injury report and they just have Tybal on it, who's been out anyway. So I don't think they've actually even looked at the guys for today yet, would be my guess. Yeah, that could be really important. I would watch out for Portland. I didn't realize that Ayton played 42 minutes. Point being is like if he plays, I guess he looks good. But there is like a decent shot they'd pull some guys here because that's a lot of minutes for especially Ayton, but all the guys played 40. Like Simons played 40, Ayton played 42, Grant played 41, Kamara played 45, or Kamara. Avdia played 44. If I had to guess, Ayton gets ruled out there, Grant gets ruled out. Probably not Avdia. Probably not Simons. Yeah, that's a big one to watch out for. The other shows after me will have it for you, but keep an eye on the news, obviously. All right, back to the sheet here. Yeah, maybe Simons. I guess honestly, they pay him so much money. It probably would make sense to send him. They've looked engaged for weeks. Like they energized and engaged. I think they've looked pretty good, but I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they just don't want the team to get broken up, and there's enough trade rumors about breaking it up. Lakers 106.3 implied points. Clippers 114.8. LeBron James 9% of my top 150. Fields at 7%. Not a big stand there. For LeBron James, though, I think that is a pay-up option here on a slate where there aren't a lot of guys that can give you 70. He's a guy that can give you 70. Just feels like a tough spot for the Clippers. This kind of feels to me with an 8.5-point spread favoring the Clippers. Feels like the Lakers getting the doors blown off here before Luka comes in next week, seemingly against Utah is when the return should come there. I know this doesn't look that good here. Lakers can beat up on a Washington on a shorthanded kind of basis versus the Clippers here. I think they got their ass kicked. And here, Rui's at 11% for the field. I'm at 7. Really no big pro stance here besides Jared Vanderbilt, who hopefully can get a guy, be able to get a lot of rebounds in the second unit. Kevin Porter, bricks or something like that. I guess we're hoping for him. But Jared Vanderbilt really not playing core guys. I can live with that here because I just don't think the Lakers, I don't think the starters necessarily get 4 quarters of run here or at the very least have a good game while doing it. Clippers, 114.8 implied points. Norman Powell, a little bit above the field. At the field's at 10%. I'm at 11. Zubac under on. Nobody above 10% here. If you're with the field, a little bit under it, I think that's fine. But really having Kawhi in, Kawhi's playing a little bit better up to 1.13 fantasy points a minute, kind of rounding into old Kawhi that I could see taking a tournament shot on him. 7% here, 7K salary. I think we're now in the range where you can play Kawhi Leonard if you want to. And honestly, the fact that he's playable does hurt Harden a little bit, does hurt Powell a little bit more. Zubac might get 30 rebounds. Lakers are a good shooting team still. Was one thing that jumped out to me against the Wizards. Actually, I was like, I'm surprised they're this good. You got a bunch of knockdown shooters here. Like everybody's in the rotation. 59% or better true shooting. Gabe Vincent sucks, but Shake Milton still also shoots well. The Lakers are honestly like not a bad team. That's why I think they can make a run with Luka. But anyway, yeah, Clippers, look, I think Kawhi's playable. These guys are all tournament options here. But the Lakers are a little bit shorthanded to compete with a team like the Clippers right now. We're past the halfway point of the show, guys. You know what that means? Time to check out one of the most premier betting data places. Betting data places? Is that the best I can come up with? The most premier betting data providers you can find, of course, at Unabated. So let's learn a little bit more about the conditional NBA projections, and let's get in there. There's some great Super Bowl stuff, too, coming up that I'll show you in a moment. Pornhub or Reddit. Really should have gone Reddit first there. Dynamic projections. DeJounte Murray, mark him out, keep him out. How that bit has changed throughout the year. It used to be keep Zion out. Now it's we're keeping DeJounte Murray out. Real-time NBA news. You don't have to go on Twitter anymore. I hate going on Twitter. I just get my alerts from Unabated to the Discord every day. And then, we're going to get here. We're going to get some graphs. See graph distributions of bets you want to take. Or just look at the pretty graphs and go, ooh la la, like an idiot looking at fireworks. Game day live streams. These guys are working hard, doing projections. It'll talk you through them as well. And you can chat all day and count dirty money. Pay your tariffs. So international providers. So here is the Super Bowl betting tab that you can see here. They launched a new prop betting thing for the Super Bowl, which I won't spend too much time on here, but it is pretty cool. I'll show you on screen here real fast. Hopefully it'll load up quickly here. Basically, all the Super Bowl props in one spot. I was playing with it before, so I'm hoping it'll load now. Here you go. You can pull in market-based projections or some other ones out there that are premium. You can sim everything out as well. It's a really cool tool if you want to get some Super Bowl bets in. I think that's actually their regular prop thing. They have one that's just for the Super Bowl as well. So I'm trying to sell the product here, and it's hard to do sometimes. But here's their prop thing. You can see legit the entire Chinese food menu, Cheesecake Factory menu of bets. It's really cool if you want to get in bets with Super Bowl. That's one thing. And obviously for the NBA, as I show you here on stream every day, you can see the ROI for Unabated throughout the year. This is if you were betting $100 units, you'd be up at this point. You took all the 5% or higher ROI bets that are 30 minutes before tip-off, you'd be up $35,000. So even if you were betting $10 units, you'd be up $3,500. So let's keep that in mind with Unabated, even though we have some fun here. It is a premier betting tool out there, and you can be better than the idiots on Twitter Spaces who don't even know how to calculate edge. You follow that niche concept that I got on my For You page. Check it out. You get a hard round. See, that's just not even a double entendre at that point. Thank you for that. All right, let's pull in Unabated's projections here. You can see all of our conditional projections set. So we're not going to have Philly in the data set. We're not going to have Indiana in the data set. We're not going to have Toronto in the data set for those guys being Q tags right now. Let's sim it out. Unabated's data simming 10,000 times here based off standard deviations and the additional NBA projections that Unabated provides. And we will see what we get here. All right. Just making sure we pull in all the lines here. Let's sort them out. Towns or Brunson for single entry, you think? Or would you have Hart and Towns? I think they're both fine. They're two of my favorite plays on the slate, so I have no issue with it. Also, crazy username. Sure. We had Donovan Mitchell, 13% EV. But yes, they're both two of my favorite plays on the slate. So whatever configuration you want. Everybody looks better for the Knicks because I'm not having OG Anunoby out there. Donovan Mitchell under 25.5 points, plus 100 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 13% expected value. PrizePicks under 26 points on Donovan Mitchell gets you 10% EV. So fading Donovan Mitchell today with unabated data. You can take it on FanDuel as well at minus 110. But plus 100 odds on Donovan Mitchell under 25.5. Your highest EV bet for Donovan Mitchell right now. We got Sam Hauser under 6 points. That one's good to go on PrizePicks, 12.3% EV. You can also take it on DraftKings and FanDuel, where it's under 5.5 at minus 105 or minus 102. Sam Hauser unders today, looking very good on PrizePicks in particular. That's 12.3% EV. Jared Allen over 11.5 points gets you 12% expected value today on PrizePicks. Also good to go on DraftKings Sportsbook, 11.2% EV on there at minus 120 odds. FanDuel, you could still take it at plus 100, over 12.5 there. But Jared Allen overs on points looking good anywhere you can get it. Underdog is killing all the lines that Unabated gives you. We got, Twitter gabbers do love game logs. Twitter gabbers love a lot of things that I don't. Patrick, and also like the guys who know shit on Twitter just like to browbeat the idiots on Twitter. And it's like, what is the point of this exercise? I don't know. That's me at the very least. Patrick Williams, try to educate people or don't. I don't know, but don't just yell at them and call them idiots on fucking Twitter spaces for no reason. Patrick Williams under 10.5 points. That's good to go on Underdog. For Patrick Williams under 10.5 points gets you 11.4% EV. You probably don't want it on the other books though, but looking good for Underdog. Patrick Williams lower on 10.5 points on Underdog. Nick Claxton over 10.5 points plus 104 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook get you 10.4% EV. You can also get 8.3% expected value for over 10.5 at plus 100 odds on DraftKings. But the plus 104, you can see here how that does affect expected value here. Just getting that extra 4% basically of value. So there you go. That's the math for you. Basically what ends up happening is that the extra 4% of value then accounts for the win and loss, and you get 2%. No, never. If I have to show that I'm not an idiot like some of the people on Twitter spaces, we got Matas Buzelis here under 10.5 points. Good to go on PrizePicks, 10% EV on there. You can also get 7.1% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook and 9% EV for Matas Buzelis under 10.5 points wherever you can get it. And Peyton Pritchard, 8.6% EV for under 10.5 points today. Better spot versus Cleveland, tough matchup. And Peyton Pritchard, with them probably leaning on the starters a little bit more in a playoff environment. I do like the under for it as a basketball concept as well. But under 10.5 points for Peyton Pritchard, minus 104 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Rebounds. Oh, man. The reality, though, is that when this stream ends, I have to go be a dad for fucking 7 days in a row. So I don't want this stream to end, guys. I want to really luxuriate in all the bets. We got Klay Thompson over 3, and I got to get the kid from daycare, and then fucking got to do dinner. Oh, my God. Being a dad is exhausting. Klay Thompson, twice in 2 weeks having to do this shit, boys. Pray for me, please. Klay Thompson over 3.5 rebounds. Reality is just setting in as I'm doing this, unfortunately. Plus 116 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook gets you 20% EV for Klay Thompson over 3.5 rebounds. Also good to go on DraftKings. With no PJ Washington out there, there's just more rebounds to flow around, so I can live with this one as well. Klay Thompson playing more minutes now, too, with no Quentin Grimes. Looking pretty good. Dylan Brooks here over 3 rebounds, 19.5% EV on PrizePicks. Bettable as well on DraftKings Sportsbook, where you're getting 9% EV for over 3.5 rebounds for Dylan Brooks. And FanDuel looks even better, over 3.5 at plus 120. So Dylan Brooks over 3.5 rebounds or 3 rebounds, whatever you can get. Vika Zubac over 12.5 rebounds. Minus 105 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 12% EV. Still 6% on PrizePicks as well, but Zubac looks particularly good on DraftKings Sportsbook at minus 105 odds. And again, it's over 12.5 rebounds. Wow. Over 12.5 rebounds and still plus EV, huh? 30 rebounds might not be that far off. Kawhi Leonard, over 5 rebounds for him. Playing more minutes now, playing a little bit more effectively. 11.7% EV for you on PrizePicks. Also bettable to take Kawhi Leonard over 5.5 rebounds on DraftKings, plus 110 odds there. FanDuel looks the least good at plus 106, but Kawhi Leonard over on his rebounds looks pretty good wherever you can get it. Kyrie Irving over 4.5 rebounds, minus 115 odds on FanDuel gets you 9.4% EV, but you don't want it on your pick'em sites or DraftKings Sportsbook. LeBron James over 7.5 rebounds, plus 120 odds, 9% EV. Rui Hachimura over 4.5 rebounds on PrizePicks gets you 8.7% EV. Those are all your places you got there. All right, assists coming up next. Sim it out. Being a dad makes you want to high five the oncologist when he gives you supposedly unfavorable news. Thank you for it's a dark one. Big Daddy vibes for sure. Big Daddy vibes. Always. It's how it feels. We're just hanging on by a thread. And I'm a good dad. I'm a very attentive dad, but just the having to do wake ups and bedtime and bath and cooking and playing and reading books and pick up and drop. Oh my God, just fucking can't imagine having 2. The wife came back from her bachelorette. Was like, we gotta have a girl. I'm like, fuck off. I'm keeping my Grady Dick safely away from your lineup. That's what I'm saying when that's the mindset. Norman Powell, 22.8% EV. Over 1.5 assists for Norman Powell today. Good to go on PrizePicks. You probably don't want anywhere else, but Norman Powell over 1.5 assists on PrizePicks. One of your best PrizePicks bets of the day. There you go. Bedtime is exhausting. I do bedtime every day, so I'm used to that. But the nice part was when Alex was here for the 5 days in between, she did everything with Luca. Did bedtime. Didn't do story time because I have to do that. But did bath time, took him out, took him to the aquarium and shit. So I actually got to chill, but now I'm just now we're back in the fucking tornado. We got Duncan Robinson under 3.5 assists, 19.5% EV on PrizePicks, 9.3% EV on DraftKings, under 3.5 on there. Much less favorable odds, though, so take it on PrizePicks if you can. For Duncan Robinson under 3.5 assists. Dylan Brooks under 1.5 assists, 12.6% EV on PrizePicks, not available anywhere else. Max Strus over 2.5 assists, minus 120 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, 12.6% EV there. That's Max Strus over 2.5 assists. Jalen Green under 3.5 assists, minus 118 odds on PrizePicks. A little counterintuitive to take an under on assists for him with Fred VanVleet out, but it is a pace down spot, and frankly, Jalen Green could not pass once, and you wouldn't be shocked. James Harden, 9% EV, under 9.5 assists, good to go on PrizePicks. And Donovan Mitchell, under 5 assists, gets you 8.1% EV on PrizePicks as well, but not in your major sports books. Keep that dick in Toronto. There you go. It's rough, man, to worth it. Yes, we have to say. Of course, it's worth it, blah, blah, blah. Much more sense of fulfillment to having a child. That said, boy, it was a lot better to be a fucking sleepy boy who can just fucking chill. Like, if I didn't have a child and Alex were out of town, I'd be like sick, jerking off and sleeping and fucking eating like shit for a week. No problem. Now it's like, oh, got to fucking schedule my life around it. Got to fucking pick him up and do a stream tomorrow. Anyway. Enough complaining. PRAs, Cam Whitmore, under 18.5 PRAs. 12% EV for him for the lower of 18.5 PRAs and Underdog. Cam Whitmore gets a 12% EV. Klay Thompson, over 18.5 PRAs, good on DraftKings, minus 110 odds, 10.7% EV. Kawhi Leonard, over 26.5 PRAs, good to go on Underdog, 6.5% EV, but you probably don't want it in the other sports books where we are safely under the 5% there. And Nikola Vucevic, under 34.5 PRAs on DraftKings Sportsbook, 6.4% EV for him there. I like fading Vucevic. As I mentioned, the rates for him just don't get much better with Levine out. And let's do our last step in our journey here, our little daily gauntlet for NBA. We're going to go to Stokastic now, sim some DFS lineups. Let me get it going here. And you know what I'm going to do in between, guys? I'm going to read your chats, but I'm also going to whore in between. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs for the All-Star break. And I fear I'm at the top of the YouTube algorithm. I fear like I've exhausted all the people who watch the stream and think I'm not good enough to hang out with every day. Tier coming down. But in reality, your guys' support does go a long way for you. If you watch the stream, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Trying to get to 1K subs for the All-Star break. And I don't think we're going to hit it before the trade deadline, but it's coming up soon. Please show some love. Hit all the buttons. And check out our sponsors, too. They're all linked in the description. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Build your pick'ems. Do some NFL, pre-NFL drafts like I did today on stream on the Splash Play NFL channel at Splash Play Pod. Stokastic, 15% off. You want to support the show, keep it going. Check it out Unabated. It's a great way to do that. Checking out Stokastic, another great way to do that. Get 15% off the tool you're seeing on stream here, their data, everything they have for you. 15% off with promo code SPLASH at Stokastic. And, of course, Unabated, $30 off. The big boy pants have to go on if you're going to do betting. And you should be using professional big boy tools. I'm going to just keep saying big boy over and over again. Hey, big boy, do you like betting, big boy? Why don't you go to Unabated to hang out with some other big boys? Please don't make it weird, Dylan. Please don't pull your dick out in the Discord because you think you got the wrong idea. But do check it out. Their projections, their data, the news updates, definitely faster than Underdog as well. So if you're just on Discord, you get their alerts. If you're a paying member, lots of good stuff with Unabated, including their projections. They have NBA DFS projections as well, which you can get for cheaper than some of the other products as well, including Stokastics, I believe. So check it out. Unabated is a great tool, great product, all that. Thank you for whoring. That's true. Babysitter or French maid? Neither. We're loyal boys here. Gotta hide all the babysitters we have. Alex is cultivated to make sure they're as unattractive as possible. Gotta hide in a closet to beat off now every dad. No, I have a basement to do that. And a wife who goes to bed early enough. So the 10 p.m. So whenever you want to know if I might be jerking off, if it's the 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. hours, there's a decent shot. I'm down here jacking it to something. I won't tell you what. Jacking it to something. Use a sock for privacy. Thank you. Thank you for that. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. All right. Stokastic data here. And as we talk about always, you saw my sim exposure in the beginning, which is using Stokastic Simulator, but my projections overlaid on top of it. Now you're just seeing Stokastic data, so no imports for me, no other data sources, just what they have to give you. So probably very similar to what a lot of people playing DFS tonight are going to be looking at. Your number one lineup right now, according to Stokastic, with their data having updated at about 320 here, but nothing's changed. So fucking praise me to whatever higher powers dare to listen to me. Jalen Brunson, Cam Whitmore, Zaire Williams, Josh Hart, Daniel Gafford, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware. Do think that Bam and Kel'el pull from each other a little bit. They certainly can both get there at their price tags, but I would highlight that as maybe not my favorite construction. Everything else here does look pretty good. I late swap the 10:30 game and jerk off again. I mean, look, if it's a choice, it's a choice. The puppet is not out. The puppet stays right behind me here in the studio safely. Don't worry. I've ruined 10 p.m. for you. Do you know where your children are? I know where mine are not. Donovan Mitchell being spread on a paper towel. Now we're getting too many intimate details. Donovan Mitchell, Cam Whitmore, Josh Hart, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware again. Zaire Williams again. Nikola Jovic, DeAndre Ayton. So some overlap here. Cam Whitmore, Bam, Kel'el Ware, Zaire, and both the top liners from Stokastic. Josh Giddey, Grady Dick, Cam Whitmore, Josh Hart, Kel'el Ware again. Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, and Nikola Vucevic. Double Nikola's here. I think that one makes more sense. I just think Kel'el and Bam a little bit too much, but that's that. Jalen Brunson, Karis LeVert, Josh Hart, Nikola Jovic, Daniel Gafford again, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, Josh Giddey. These lineups feeling very samey. And a lot of Miami, Chicago, some Houston. Definitely Cam Whitmore, fucking no matter what. Jalen Brunson, Terry Rozier, Cam Whitmore once again, Bam Adebayo, Kristaps Porzingis, Josh Giddey, Nikola Jovic, DeAndre Ayton. I'll tell you what, when you pull your lines from Stokastic, you won't need Cam Whit more. You'll be saying, give me Cam Whit less. Now that you can really feel, I knew that was a bomb, obviously. You could really feel the bomb in a room by myself where I can't hear you guys. That's where that is. Your top ROI players right now. Number one, Zaire Williams. Again, the directional accuracy is what we're looking for here, even though these are all negative. You're looking for just who's the highest ROI. Negative 2.6% Zaire Williams right now is his ROI. Negative 5.6% ROI for Josh Hart. Same number for Kel'el Ware at number 3. Duncan Robinson, negative 6.7%. Jalen Brunson, negative 6.9%. Cam Whitmore, and I don't know if you heard this one, guys. You might want Cam Whit less. Negative 8.4% here. And Josh Giddey, negative 8.5%. Thank you, Jeremy. Got to fill the air somehow, boys. I don't know what to tell you. Your top exposed players, Zaire Williams, 63% aligned. I thought I was going to be alone on Zaire Williams Island. I got to say, they're giving him Zaire a lot of minutes, and that worries me a little bit here because I know that's why I'm getting him. Just going to check Brooklyn's minutes from last game. Last game, Zaire played just under 31, so they're hoping you hit the upper band of it. Kind of feels like Zaire did hit that upper band a little bit last game. But look, Zaire coming up a lot here, almost 3x the field. Bam Adebayo, 60% compared to 45. So 15% leverage on Bam Adebayo. Cam Whitmore, 53% exposure compared to 35% for the field. So you're 18% higher on Cam Whitmore. You are, in fact, getting Cam Whitmore in the field. Kel'el Ware, 40% exposure compared to 17% for the field. So more than 2x there. Josh Hart, 39% compared to 17. So pro Josh Hart here. They're not going Towns and Brunson, but they are going Josh Hart. Terry Rozier, they love Rozier. If Terry Rozier is the thing that kills me on the slate, fuck all you guys. I'm not playing Terry Rozier this much. They want 7% more than the field, though. And Daniel Gafford, about 10% more than the field, 37% exposure compared to the field's 27. And Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Your highest leverage guys, Zaire Williams, Kel'el Ware, Josh Hart, Cam Whitmore, Cam Cool Whip, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Brunson. All right, they're up on Brunson. And Nikola Jovic, 34% compared to 22. Where are they on Towns? Oh, negative 11% on Towns. So they're up on Brunson, up on Hart. Are they up on Bridges? Not up on Bridges. Low on Towns, though. Whitmore puns almost better than Dick puns. All right, I'll take it. Whitmore puns, much safer, much more PG for all the parents listening with their children out there, which if you are, shame on you. Oh, Shai Agbaji, I'm kidding. Please, subject me to all your children. I'm a great dad. Great hang for kids. I think they can all agree. Oshai Agbaji, 2% exposure compared to the field's 18%. So they are fading our boy Agbaji here. Karl Anthony Towns are low on him. In fact, second most low leverage guy here. So I love Towns. Stokastic disagrees with me. I'll be above the field on Towns. You don't have to. Oh, thank you. Your kids love my brown dick jokes. That's all I can ask. Something's wrong with Towns' IMO. Hasn't been right since the thumb injury. I mean, he did say it was affecting his three-point shooting a little bit. Still think the fantasy upside is there for him. But if you're a game score watcher, maybe you feel differently. For me, when I have Towns well projected, I know I can get different from the field with it. And Stokastic is not going to push people there too. I'll be happily above the field on Towns. But if you're low on Towns, you should be up on Brunson, should be up on Hart. You should be up on Bridges less so. But I think that's how that should go. Stokastic is low on Miles McBride, negative 9% leverage. Desunmu, negative 8%. Kobe White at rounded up, negative 8%. Kawhi Leonard, negative 7%. And Jaylen Brown, negative 7% leverage as well. So some of these guys here are getting basically no Kawhi Leonard. I really think this is now like an okay time to buy Kawhi. Obviously, it'd be better if like Harden were out or something, but Kawhi's playing legit minutes and the fantasy points stabilizing, his rate stabilizing. I think Kawhi is not awful right now. That's a video, guys. Splash plays of the day coming up. One last quick round of whoring here. Subscribe down below. It goes a long way for me here. About 60 to 65% of you guys who watch these videos aren't subscribed. And it does go a long way for me here so I could show off little fancy numbers to people and obviously get to that first 1,000 subs here. So please show some love. Channel's been in existence for almost 3 months now. Actually, might be 3 months flat. So we got to get there. Help me out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Check out the sponsors. They're all linked in the description. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash for your pick'ems, for your best ball drafting, for your daily drafting, dog bowls. Want to go to San Diego and win some money? Do it with Underdog. Stokastic, 15% off. Promo code SPLASH on there. Also linked in the description. And Unabated, our presenting sponsor, who really goes a long way here. You want to support the show. You want to see more content like this. Honestly, for Unabated too, like if this channel does well, I'm sure they're going to try out some more shit. They do some stuff with the Badge Bros. They do some stuff with Davis Maddock, Neil Orfield. Great channels out there. Make sure they keep doing it. Support this channel. Not those other ones. This one, the link in the description. Splash plays for the day. I think it has to be Towns for me. I know that we kind of got the pushback here from Stokastic. Still think Towns, who's produced at about a 1.6 fantasy point per minute pace with OG Anunoby, that stands out. You want to fade him, though. Get more Brunson, get more of the other guys, but I think it's a good spot versus Toronto no matter what. Back to back. Besides that, in terms of pay up guys, I don't know. I mean, Brunson is another big stand for me. Was getting 4x the field on Brunson. So Towns and Brunson, both their priorities. Value-wise, Grady Dick, Jared Vanderbilt, Cam Whitmore. We want Whitmore here today, boys. We want to get Whitmore with it. And we want Zaire Williams as well, I think. I think those are the big value plays. So Towns, Brunson, pay up guys. Dick, Vanderbilt, Whitmore, Zaire. Those are the ones I'll probably get the most of right now. Watch out for the Portland news, though, because that's a lot of minutes for guys on a back-to-back. So make sure you do that and pay attention. As always, you should in NBA. Guys, gamble responsibly, even though it's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags, even though I'm not posted on Twitter. I reply to stuff still, but I'm not publicly posted anymore. You guys know why. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at SplashPlay NBA, NFL at SplashPlay Pod. Back tomorrow with more. 3 p.m. Eastern start time tomorrow because I'm going to be on Luka duty, so watch out early here. Hopefully there'll be data. If not, we'll figure it out as we always do. But I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Pray for Spags, and see you soon. Bye-bye.